Look at the pavement. Wow. That's crazy. Huh. Snow in the last 24 hours. All right, you're gonna follow me up the end of the road? Yep. Okay. Whew. All right, so we got a call, or I initially got a call, just saying power is out. 40 customers, and they were all the customers called beyond a switch that's only a couple span ahead. So they predicted that switch as open, and I slowly got my gear on, got all geared up to head this way, and then the dispatcher called back and said the fire department was on scene and there was quite a fire. You can see from the his pavement there, that pavement boiled right into almost glass bubbles. When I arrived, there was flames shooting out of the ground a couple feet high, and the snow was just like a pressure cooker. The steam was rolling off that snow. It was quite a light show. What's that? Not much left of the wire there. Still smoking. Yes, sir.
Didn't see nothing else the other one? Looks like it just...
No, something must have hit it right there somewhere. Oh, the next span's still up. All those trees are too small to burn that down. Oh yeah. Oh, the snow must have had that tree keeled right over onto it. That next switch is just up the road there.
I thought that's what it was.
Well, that's the switch that they were showing open because all the calls were from there down. So predicted that switch open. But when I pulled up, that snow, the steam was coming out just like a pressure cooker out of that snow there. So as much as I would have liked to have stopped and gotten some footage of the arcing situation like that, I had a few quick words with the fire chief and let him know, basically keep this area shut down, keep the road closed down. I went back to the switch, which was load break cutouts, which is awesome for this stuff because I don't need to put a load buster on it, and hooked onto this with a telly stick from the ground, opened all 3 of those load break cutouts. That killed the power. As soon as the power went out, that fire stopped. You can see there's a foot of snow on the ground, so there's no dry leaves or nothing that were burning. So then came back to the site here, make sure the fire was in fact out, and cleared the fire department. I had my backup, which you seen my partner there. He was maybe 15 minutes behind me, so he just rolled in. So we confirmed the work location with our dispatch, and we're going to take a work permit between the switches I opened already, the disconnect. I have that tagged already. We're going to go up ahead here, open those 3 switches so that this is a loop feed. So the open point to the loop feed, it's way down, and the roads are horrible. We don't want to drive through the mountain if we don't have to. So instead of driving to the normal open, we're going to go to this set of switches that's just 5 poles ahead, 3 phase. We're going to open those, remove the doors, tag that, and then we'll have our work zone isolated. Yeah, I'll use, you got a little truck or a big truck?
Yeah, big truck.
We'll use my little truck. We'll set 3 sets of grounds over here, and then we'll come over here and put 1 on the broken phase. Actually, we might as well splice it.
I was going to cut out the arm.
Yeah, and then we don't have to set up in the middle.
Exactly.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll put a piece on the ground.
Doesn't matter which way, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll be going out until the service is all right. Looks like we're close to the service.
Yeah, might have sent. Oh, there's still snow on it, so that's a good sign. So our work area is isolated. And there's only one broken phase. We're going to check for potential and install our grounds on 3 phases on one side of the work area, and then the other side will already be protected and will be within, we're going to be about 60 meters away from our grounds. So we're going to install a bond, we're going to bond the work area, and then also we're going to bond the broken phase to the neutral or one of the other phases so that there's no difference potential on either side of the break. And then you can see we lost a good 20 feet of wire, just disintegrated. So I'll splice a piece in on the ground. I got probably 40 or 50 meters on the back of my truck. We'll splice in a piece in the ground, and where the truck's set up at that pole, I imagine my partner will go up there and pull the new piece of wire up that's already sleeved, ready to go. Sleeve that onto the other wire, remove that ground. We're gonna then go back, remove our trip grounds, close in our, I was going to say normal open, but it's not a normal open. We're going to close in the set of switches up ahead, remove our tag, go back, close that in, power's good to go. This whole process from here on out will probably take us about an hour, maybe an hour and a half tops. Not a whole lot of travel time here. And of course, there's a few steps in between with reporting to our dispatch and stuff. We have to report the steps back and forth to each other as we go through the process. So, slight change of plans. We just rolled up to the switch, and one of them is open, which is not good. That means there's a fault further down the line. It is possible for that to open with what just happened, but it's not very likely. Basically, if that did open because of what just happened, it would be because before the wire burnt down, as it was arcing, it would have drawn the voltage way down on that phase. So with that lower voltage, current's going to go up. It could melt that fuse off. It's definitely not a very likely situation, but it's possible. I have seen it before. So either way, we're going to have to patrol the rest of that line now. We're going to have to patrol right up the end over the mountain. That just added a solid 2 to 3 hours on this job. So we're going to be cutting it close with our hours. It's not what I was hoping for. This heavy wet snow, it's causes a lot of outages. You can see it on the trees here. It's same thing every year. First few snowstorms, when it's close to 0 degrees, that snow is heavy and wet. So we get a lot more outages, and there's typically a lot more incidents with the snow plows and that too, where there's not really any barriers on either side of the road yet. So just moving my truck a little bit closer to the switches here so we can take my spotlight. Still rocking that Milwaukee spotlight. It's been great even in the snow. And we got it all lit up. So I'm just going to call my dispatcher and let him know that this switch was open. Alright, so we got a little better shot here, and it's actually 2 of the switches are open already. So there's definitely a problem further down the line as well. Especially now that that second cutout's open. There's no way that those opened under load from low voltage. So we've got a long night ahead of us. Wind is blowing like crazy too here. So we got my burner down here. You should be able to hook onto that. That wind's pushing him around quite a bit. I won't torture him by filming him anymore there. Waist deep in the... We had no snow yesterday, and she's quite a dumping. Oh, he's got it open there now. All right, I gotta call my dispatch, and we're gonna get to work here, guys. Once we get to whatever opened, these couple of cutouts, I might get a couple shots for you guys. But we only got a few hours before we're gonna be back in the town too. So, all right, so we get the power back on in this stretch up to that second set of cutouts that we opened up, and what it's looking like is couldn't find a fault where the wire burnt down. We couldn't find the cause for the wire to burn down. It looked at first like there was a tree branch, but it just ended up being a black spot in the branch. There was no burn marks. So what we're thinking happened now, there's a fault further down the line, so that's drawn a lot of current down the line, and there was likely a weak spot in the wire. So when that fault was traveling through the wire, it's number 2 ACSR, we're quite a ways back in the country, that wire couldn't handle that current and burnt down. So that wire down and that arcing the fire and this whole ordeal tonight so far was a result of a problem further down the line. We're not sure what that problem is yet, but it's, I don't even know what time it is right now. Midnight on the dot. We're gonna be home by 3 a.m. So we're gonna start driving. We're going up some real rough terrain. The snow is not letting up here at all. That ditch we were walking through, a couple feet of snow to go close that line in. So hopefully we don't get stuck. My partner's got a tandem axle truck, much bigger truck, so we're gonna carry on patrolling. As I said earlier, I might be able to get a few shots of what the problem was, but I'd say there's gonna be minimal coverage tonight. All right, well, am I ever happy to see that? Because this line was not easy to patrol. So we'll be able to look after that without even taking a permit. Rubber gloves and hot sticks. All that weight on it, as soon as that blade touches that tree, she's gonna snap. All right, well, that's awesome, because man, those spruce trees and pine trees, there's just so much weight on them, and the wires bowed right down. But to find something like that, that's quite clearly at least one of the problems. So my dispatcher knows we're out on this line right now, and again, to take a permit we'd have to drive quite a ways. We're going to drive it anyways. We're going to patrol this whole line. A night like tonight, you're not going to find the problem and go close it back in. You got to patrol this whole line for sure. But we're going to stop, set up right now. We're not going to have to drive back and forth, opening and tagging switches and stuff. We've actually got a tested hydraulic saw on board, so my partner's going to use a bigger truck. These poles are quite high off the ground. Hydraulic stick, rubber gloves, and maintain our clearances from the isolated primary. I say isolated because the power's shut off, but it's not grounded, so it's absolutely not safe to touch. So we're going to clear that. I might get a few shots while my partner's up in the air there, but it almost looks like the tree went through and sprung back up, like the faces are on top of the tree. There's no way. I must have seen that wrong, but we'll get a few shots while my partner's up there working away. Alright, so we're all set up there now. Partner's going up. This should only take them about 5 minutes. Man, what a pile of snow we got here tonight. This is all supposed to come 2-3 days ago. Supposed to have a storm on the weekend. We got nothing. And then they were calling for 5-10 centimeters tonight, and we got a foot dumped on us here. It's after 1 a.m. now. So once we get this clear, we're going to patrol the rest of the line. Close her in. Hopefully the line stays in for the night. You look at these trees, you look at the amount of snow on that, there's a ton of weight on these guys. Any one of these trees could snap. He's almost got her clear there now. That hydraulic stick he's using, it's tested 100,000 volts per foot. not all hydraulic sticks, even though they're fiberglass, are authorized for live line use like this one. Even though the lines are dead or they aren't grounded, we have to follow our live line procedures, other than the fact that the tree's laying across 2 phases. And of course, there's 20 kV gloves. %5 battery life left, so I think you get the point here. He'll have that tree cleared in another 2 minutes. So like I said, 5% battery life left, and we get a header home pretty soon. So I'll let you guys know how we make out once we go to close her in. I might turn the camera on again for another minute or two. You see that telephone line's galloping quite a bit there. That happens when the snow gets on the wire and turns the shape of the wire more from being round to an oval. And as the wind goes around the wire, it starts creating that galloping effect, making it jump up and down. They start galloping a bit too much and it can get a little weak at the ties or at the pole, and eventually come down. We're up on top of the mountain here now, so there's a bit more wind. A little while back, the 3-phase was galloping quite bad. There you can see this telephone line here. It's galloping pretty bad. Puts quite a bit of strain at the pole there. And the span here. Phases are plenty clear from each other. No sense trying to knock the snow off those lines. We'd be here all night, knocking them off each and every span. One good thing is when it gallops like that is sometimes it ends up knocking the snow right off. So we're just getting near the end of the patrol here. We're almost at the end of this 3-phase line. One good technique when you're closing in a 3-phase line like this is to hang all 3 doors before closing. That's another call coming in. I gotta see what's going on here. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. We just lost this whole line we're working on. The whole thing just went out again. So that dang was my computer. 1 step forward, 2 steps back tonight. There's just too much snow coming down. It's 0 degrees. The snow is heavy and wet. There's just not going to be a whole lot we can do till the sun comes up. This is only going to get worse. At this point now, better off just not getting into anything real deep, and probably end up chasing fire trucks around a little bit. When the storm gets to this point here where you can't put anything up in the air because it's just coming back down, you keep yourself available, keep the crew spread out, and a lot of these calls will result in fire department standing by, so you can meet them on site. If something's still burning like earlier, dump the line, ground the line, cut them clear, whatever you got to do to keep everyone safe until conditions are a little bit better to work on. But what I was saying there just a few minutes ago, when you're closing a 3-phase line in a storm like this, you want to hang all 3 doors before closing, and there's 2 reasons for that. One reason, sometimes it can take a few minutes to hang the door, and if there's 3-phase customers on the line that don't have 3-phase protection, you energize one and you're having a hard time getting that second door hung, they're gonna start coming back online at 1 phase, 2 phase. Their system's not gonna run at 3 phases. It can be hard on motors, hard on equipment. That's for one. Well, there's several reasons why it's good to have 3-phase protection if you have 3-phase service. But a gang operator switch a recloser closes in all 3 at the same time. That's pretty much all we have in town, industrial park, stuff like that. Out here in the country, there's not a whole lot of 3-phase, but there is a little bit. The second reason is if you're sitting up there struggling trying to get that door hung and something else comes down in this weather and blows that cutout and you're focusing real hard up at that switch and it blows, it's awful hard on the eyes. Tinted safety glasses or not. So just the closing action, you don't even really have to look at them. You get your stick in the door, you can stare at the ground, close it without looking. You're minimizing the amount of time that your eyes are focused in on that switch, so there's a lot less chance for you to get flash burn in your eyes. So that's one thing I emphasize when training new guys, to hang all 3 doors. Even if you have to bring the stick down and around the telephone, hang all 3 doors, then close all 3 doors, and minimize the amount of time that you're staring directly at them. Got some moguls going on here. Those trees are getting low. So, change of plans again, guys. Sorry about that. Pine branch that took out the line, weighing down on it, super easy fix. There's quite a bit of snow. Hooked onto where the stick ever yanked, the snow flew off that branch, sprung right up in the air. So we've got the main line closed in again. We're going back to the switch, the line we were working on. It's 2 a.m. We're getting awful close to our limit here. So this is kind of our last hurrah. We're gonna try to close these last 3 switches. We get the main line back in, close these last 3 switches. Line's clear. We just patrolled it on the way back, and I don't want to say it looks good, but it looks good. So we're gonna try and close it in. Cross your fingers that it holds until that sun comes up and melts all this stuff off the trees. So give her one last try, guys. All right, we got them all refused. 30 amp fuses, 7 volts there now. All 3 are hung. Another piece? All right, here we go. Yep. There's one. That was a little bit gentle. And number 3. Oh, that's what happens when you don't put enough force in behind closing the cutout. You got her. You got her. All right. Well, an hour ago I did not think we were going to be leaving here tonight with everyone's lights on. The snow is still coming down hard. It's still that heavy wet stuff sticking to the trees, sticking to the lines. After 2 a.m. now, we got a long ways until sunrise. I'm not sure if she's gonna hold the night or not. Everything's clear now. We're good for a couple hours. I say that, watch that thing blow right now while I'm sitting here. But between now and 7 a.m. when the sun comes up, that snow is going to bring those trees down more and more and more. I'll be asleep by then, like so. Probably get to bed around 5 a.m. So, call my dispatcher. Oh man, getting tired tonight.
21 good.
Hey, return here. We just refused and closed that ED04 SO16, and all 3 are holding.
We're in ED04 SO16, refuse and close, 30 amp, and everything seems to be holding.
Yep, 10-4. That I've got till 4, so I got a bit of time there, but we're gonna start making our way back into town. You got no other calls, hey, right now?
We're in ED04 SO16, refuse and close, 30 amp, and everything seems to be holding.
10-4. That I've got till 4, so I got a bit of time there, but we're gonna start making our way back into town. You got no other calls, hey, right now?
everything's clear on your side of, there's some stuff in that, but we get and looking after it.
Oh, that's perfect. He's timed out. He'll be he's timed out right till 11 or noon tomorrow, and like I said, I'll be available till 4 o'clock to get emergency. But other than that, I'm gonna head home, and I'll be off for the day.
10 foreman. So you say it's timed out. I'll be off till noon. You said, and you still have a couple hours, maybe an hour or so left for emergencies.
Yeah, 10-4.
Thank you very much for everything. Hopefully I don't have to bother you guys again.
Sounds good, man.
Alright, and have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. One of you two, quick.
Doing up.
All right, so my whole side of the river is clear. No calls. Everyone's power's.
Looks like I'm the handling crew on the second one there, Aaron, so I'll just complete it when I get to town.
Yeah, sounds good, man. I'll just run it through on my end.
10-4.
There's one other crew on the road on the other side of the river. They'll probably be working right till sunrise, and that way, once they get home, if something else comes in, they'll be able to hopefully look after that. There's a few more crews at home if need be. But was happy to take you guys along the ride and kind of show you guys moment by moment as we progress through the night, how we attack the calls and kind of what's our thought process as we arrive and as other calls come in. This night turned out to be pretty good, a lot better than I thought it was going to be when we lost our main feed again. But it all worked out. I'm probably jinxing myself right now, so we'll cross our fingers. Thanks for stopping in. As always, guys, I'm going to hit the road towards home. See you soon.